When we first plant the plants, a lot of times we'll come in with a garden hose and just give them a quick drink, but it doesn't take too long before we set out some drip irrigation lines. So this is a drip irrigation tape that has emitters every 12 inches. Sometimes we'll set the tape here in the bed and leave it permanently, and the plants grow up around it. Right now I'm actually putting the tape on and then moving it off later. It is absolutely unbelievable how efficient a drip tape is. It just literally drips at each emitter, and so ever so slowly it waters it nice and deep. Plants actually do better with the roots wet and not the foliage wet. So if we had an overhead watering system in here, you could actually have potentially more disease and problems with the tops of the plants getting wet. So when we use the drip irrigation, we're watering just the bed. In fact, you can kind of see some moisture here at this bed, where a couple of days ago I let it run all night long, and so we've got a great moisture profile right here in this bed. But where we're walking, it's dry. Not only dry, it's actually a little bit dusty. So there's a little bit of management involved with when you water, but with drip tape like this, I can supply the water needs to actually several rows by just using a garden hose. I can water maybe 4 or 5 rows that are 1/8 of a mile long using drip tape all at one time. You use a soaker hose and it goes through so much more of a volume of water. Also on a soaker hose, it really dumps a lot at the beginning, and by the time you get to the end, it may not have enough water pressure. The drip tape is manufactured such that it has kind of a pressure regulator at each of the emitter sites. So every 12 inches is basically a hole, but it is built such that it has to ooze through a little tiny pressure regulator, so that the pressure coming out of the drip tape is virtually the same at one end to the other, and so you don't have a bunch dumping out at the beginning and nothing that ends up clear down at the end. With the drip irrigation, it is just tremendously efficient.
So this drip tape will be connected to a water line that comes out here, and the water will go down to where the roots are of the onions. The drip tape is laid 6 inches deep. So as it waters both down and up and goes right where the roots are. It's not on top of the ground and has to go down. So we don't have to use as much water to get the water down to the roots. People think of onions as, they're onions, they don't need much water, they don't need much fertilizer. And onions love fertilizer and they love water. And so sweet onions under black plastic is how you get those great big ones that you make into blooming onions and stuff. Using black plastic mulch to keep the weeds down saves me about 10 high school kids hoeing all summer long. And I hate to not give them a job, but this works so much better for us. It also warms the crop so we can get the crop out earlier, and that way we can usually get at least 2 crops. These onions will come out and we'll put in zinnias after that. And then sometimes in the fall there's still enough time to get like a real quick zucchini crop out of it.
Black plastic mulch really helps in many ways. One of the things that it does is really increases the efficiency of watering. So we've got drip irrigation under the plastic in the dirt, so the drip is at the roots. But the plastic mulch then holds the moisture, just like if you use straw mulch or anything else. The other reason you use mulches is for weed control. And so we can go through and poke holes in the plastic and put plants through there. As the plants grow, they kind of fill up that hole, and you don't have lots of weeds then growing. So it saves a tremendous amount of time on hoeing. If we were to use a herbicide next to plants, we don't have to with black plastic mulch. And so it's basically weed control and moisture retention. The next thing that I'm really excited about is they're doing a lot better job of coming up with plastic mulches that are biodegradable plastic. Some of the early forms of mulches were made of paper that really kind of didn't stand up to the weather, but they're doing a good job. And I don't know whether they're using cornstarch or what, but a biodegradable plastic mulch is really exciting. It's going to be a little more expensive, but I think that that's going to be a lot of fun.